Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Hybrid Now. So we've reached a milestone with the 2023 Toyota Prius, the new redesigned Toyota Prius, and that is the first 500 miles. So I thought I'd get on here and kind of run over what my impressions are, how the car is doing, and let you guys know what it is like to drive the new Toyota Prius. First of all, I have to say, I love the car. It is awesome. Everything about it, from the looks of it, the styling of it, the comfort of it, the power, everything. It is awesome. Now, what is it like to drive the vehicle? Well, it's fun. It's actually fun to drive. You know, it's a pretty small car, so it's easy to flip around, to get out and run around in, to navigate tight spaces. Parking is a breeze. This car even has auto park on it. Now, let me add a little caveat to that. I did a video recently kind of testing out auto park. Honestly, I wasn't even aware that it had it until I came across it on YouTube. But anyway, I took it to a parking lot, kind of lined it up beside the lines, and you have to have lines. And it's very, very slow. And you have to make sure that you're in the right position with those lines. The first time I tried it, it kind of parked me about a car's length outside of the parking lines. That wasn't good, but I think that was my fault, because if you're going to park a vehicle, you're probably not going to be straddling the lines. You're going to be pulling into the space, right? But it's very slow. I mean, I don't see it as being very useful unless you really are uncomfortable with parking your vehicle. It just takes too much time. It's much quicker to pull in yourself. Nonetheless, it's a neat little gimmicky thing, I guess, something to play with once or twice and then probably forget all about it and never use it again. Who knows? Leave a comment. Let me know if you've got the new Prius and you've tried it, or any other vehicle with auto park. Do you actually use it? Do you find it beneficial or not? Next up is the sound. You can hear right now, we're driving down the road, we're traveling at about 55 miles an hour or so, and there is road noise. That's one of the complaints that I've heard about the new Prius, is that it's loud inside. You can hear, that's for sure. You can hear the tires slapping the pavement, particularly if you're driving over maybe an older, more pitted road surface. You definitely can hear it. I'm sure you can hear it in the video. You get some road noise. A lot of that, I think, is probably because of a lack of or lessening of insulation. You know, the more insulation or sound deadening that you put in a vehicle, the heavier it gets and the worse the fuel economy is going to be. This is supposed to be a fuel efficient vehicle, right? And it is. Now, let's talk about fuel efficiency, because this car is rated at somewhere over 52 miles per gallon. Kind of depends on where you drive and how you drive, as with anything else. Real world number for me and my driving is probably about 60-40, something like that. 55 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, on down to just normal city and side street driving. I'm getting 43.7 miles per gallon right now. Might have gone up a tick since I first got in, because I've been driving around on higher speed roads this morning, but about 43.7 miles per gallon. Now, of course, that is not the 50-some miles per gallon that the car is rated at. Is that a big deal? Well, if you're particular, I suppose it might be, because you would have expected this car to be getting better. Now, maybe there's a break-in period. I've even heard from a few folks that say that the Prius is kind of set up like the Corvette is. In other words, when you buy a new Corvette, it's kind of throttled until you get through the first 500 or 1,000 miles, whatever it is, before the systems really let the car loose. I don't believe that's true with the new Prius. I've not really seen any empirical data or real data from Toyota saying that, but nonetheless, there's always a break-in period for every vehicle, and we do have a combustion engine. It is a hybrid, so we have that along with the electrical system, and maybe it does need to break in a bit to achieve the higher mileage numbers. So we'll see. I would think by the time we get to 1,000 miles on this vehicle, we should be pretty much broken in and know what we're going to get. Now, one thing I will mention, I do notice that when I go on short trips, I get back home, it shows right around 50 to 53 miles per gallon on that particular trip. I think the number that I gave you, it's the total average that's not been reset since I got the car. So it's kind of taking into account, or you have to take into account, the time where we sat in the parking lot with the salesman and kind of went over the features with the car running. I mean, you're not getting good fuel economy when you're not moving, right? So I think there's a bit of that in there, and it might skew the number down a little bit. I have seen the total average increasing. It goes up, I think, every time I drive the vehicle. So I do believe that we're going to get probably closer to that 50-some miles per gallon. I'm not quite sure that for my style of driving, we're going to get to that optimum 50-some miles per gallon. And I think to do that, you really have to be gentle on the throttle. I'm not so much. I drive this car maybe a little bit more aggressively than your typical hyper-miler. But nonetheless, 43.7 miles per gallon is pretty darn good. You know, I own a couple of trucks, and they're getting, well, the Toyota Tacoma is somewhere in the mid to low 14 mile per gallon range. And then a Toyota Tundra, which hopefully is going to get somewhere in the 18 to 20 mile per gallon. I haven't had the vehicle that long, so I don't have anything to go with on that other than suggested numbers from the manufacturer. The technology in the car, it's funny, this morning when I was thinking about making this video, I was driving around, had the radio playing, and there was a pause. I looked at the screen and it said system updating. So it's good that they do that. I love that. The update was really quick. It's not like I had to suffer through a blank screen and silence or road noise for very long. The technology's been perfect in it, and this car is packed with technology. Love everything in it. I think it's awesome. I'm a tech head anyway. I like that kind of stuff, so I say the more the better. I know there are a lot of folks out there who are concerned that the more tech you have, the more problems you're going to have. But so far, I haven't experienced any issues with this car. Toyota has done a great job, I think, making sure that everything is going to work the way that it should. I mentioned the styling of it. You know, sometimes after you get a vehicle, you get used to it, and it doesn't really have that pop for you anymore. I don't find that to be true about the Prius. It's still eye-popping, eye-catching. I had somebody ask me the other day, I was at a gas station, I think the second or third time only, maybe the second time since I got the car, and somebody asked me what it was. They really liked the car, couldn't believe it was a Prius. I still can't believe it's a Prius. The last thing I'm going to mention is the drivability of it, or the fun factor with this car. I mentioned in the beginning, it's a fun car to drive. It is quick. 0 to 60 in just under 7 seconds, I believe, or right around that 7-second mark. Doesn't make it a race car or anything for sure, but it's fast enough that zipping around in the city or even in traffic is a heck of a lot of fun. Toyota's done an excellent job with this car. I would give it a 10 out of 10 so far. It's in the top 5 best cars that I've ever owned for all of those reasons. Leave a comment. Let me know if you've gotten the new Prius, or maybe you're getting one. What are you looking forward to the most in having it? Or what do you like the most about having it? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.